Why do we instinctively chase after those who ignore us? We've all been there, wondering why someone isn't giving us the attention we deserve, or questioning our worth because of their indifference. But what if I told you that chasing after them might be exactly the wrong thing to do? What if the key to unlocking true peace and confidence lies in letting go, standing firm, and trusting that the right people will come to you? In this video, we're diving into the power of choosing yourself over chasing approval. Why does ignoring someone actually reflect more on them than on you? Stay tuned, because the answer might just change the way you look at relationships forever. Ignoring someone can make you feel like they're making a statement about how valuable you are to them, or how much of a role you play in their lives. Listen, what they do is completely unrelated to your value. Your worth does not change depending on how other people perceive you or appreciate you. It is intrinsic. Nothing can ever change the fact that you were born deserving. Just when someone walks past a diamond unnoticed doesn't mean it loses its value. This is because worth is intrinsic to the object. Not everyone will take the time to appreciate a work of art, but that doesn't mean it stops being remarkable. Like these priceless gems, your value will never change. Its existence is unaffected by whether or not anyone acknowledges it. Ignoring someone usually speaks more about that person than you do about yourself. They might not understand the depth of your being, be too busy dealing with their own problems, or just not have the emotional capacity to connect with people. No matter what motivated them, they do not represent who you truly are. However, the difficulty lies in the fact that it is simple to allow oneself get discouraged by internalizing rejection. The thought may cross your mind. What went wrong? Do you think I'm inadequate? Disregarding the act of being ignored, it is this spiral of uncertainty that degrades us. You may fight this by keeping in mind an essential truth. Your value is immutable. Affirming oneself is the first step in recovering this truth. Take a moment to remind yourself of your worth when you feel unappreciated. I am worthy of love and respect. I am enough just as I am. My value is not determined by others' opinions or actions. Repeat this to yourself until you feel stronger, and you'll be better able to handle being ignored. As time goes on, you'll notice that your self-esteem grows stronger. Keep in mind that no one needs proof of your worth. No need to seek approval from those who can't recognize the brilliance in you. Let their lack of interest reflect back to them. Not your own shortcomings, but rather their own blind spots. Like a calm, unmoving flame, genuine value is unwavering. When left alone, it remains steady. Its steady flames consume everything in their path. Befriend me, and let the actions of others flow through you like a breeze. You'll be aware of their impact, but they can't put out the fire within you, for the simple reason that your value is incalculable. An often overlooked but incredibly effective means of expression is quiet. The decision to disregard you conveys more than simply a lack of communication. It's a statement about their position and view of the relationship. Void can be painful to be filled with silence, but if you're open to listening, you'll find clarity there. Recognize first that there is no such thing as neutral quiet. Silence can be seen as a deliberate choice to ignore or, less often, as an indication of priorities. In any case, they are sending a message by being silent. If someone is silent, it could be because they are trying to tell you something like, "I'm not emotionally ready to engage right now," or "I'm not giving this relationship the priority you are." In any case, the message is that silence allows you to hear what's really going on. Chasing someone who has decided to remain silent usually just makes things worse. You may encounter additional silence, or even worse, contemptuous replies if you insist on answers, explanations, or even recognition. Attempting to interrupt the silence could make you feel even more rejected. Put your focus into filling the space rather than letting the quiet do its job. The true meaning of silence can frequently be discerned when we take a step back. Relationship instabilities can also be revealed by silence. Their lack of response can be a sign that you need to reevaluate your approach if you're the one who's constantly making an effort to connect with them. Mutual effort and open communication are the foundations of healthy partnerships, rather than selfish pursuits. You can assess the relationship's authenticity and determine if it fits with your values and worth by letting the silence persist. Silence also has the power to demarcate space. Someone is establishing a boundary, whether they mean to or not, when they disregard you. Although it may be painful, showing respect for that limit demonstrates emotional maturity. You shouldn't try to force a connection or hunt for answers if the other person isn't doing the same. Instead, take a minute to consider what you truly deserve and what you need, and respect their silence as a statement about their stance. Another surprising benefit of being silent is the insight it brings. You may find that your own emotions, wants, and priorities become more apparent when another person's emphasis shifts away from you. You have a clearer picture of the relationship's dynamics, including your contributions, receipts, and the degree to which they are balanced. Even while it's not always pleasant, quiet can reveal a lot. You can learn a lot about your own strength via silence. Resilience is developed when one stops chasing and instead sits in the uncomfortable stillness. You realize that it's possible to deal with setbacks without letting them define you. You come to see that the fact that other people fail to recognize your worth does not decrease it. As you mature, you learn to be content with just being yourself and don't feel the need to constantly seek validation from others. Avoid the temptation to fill the void the next time someone disregards you. Ignore it. Pay attention to what it's saying and keep in mind that quiet, even when it hurts, can reveal truth. Truth, no matter how painful, is a gift. Humans have an innate need for connection and understanding, which can lead to a chasing drive when someone ignores you. Why are they so distant? Is a question you might ask yourself. Am I making a mistake? Am I able to resolve this? Although pursuing may appear to be the most natural course of action, it almost never leads to the kind of connection you desire. On the contrary, it usually makes you look desperate, which drives the other person away and lowers your self-esteem. Think about the dynamics of chasing to get a handle on this. When one partner pursues the other, it changes the dynamic of the relationship. You act as if the other person's approval or attention is something you have to work for, putting them on a pedestal. The message that their approval is more essential than your dignity is conveyed by this action, which has the unintended consequence of lowering your own value. A relationship based on such a weak basis is likely to fail soon because of its instability and lack of stability. The way the other person sees you might also be altered when you pursue them. They perceive you as someone who is overly anxious about their approval, rather than someone who exudes confidence and self-assurance. Egos grow when they are validated by other people, according to Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. Because I am not enough, his ego wants approval from other people, he writes. The ego's grip on you loosens as you cease pursuing its acceptance. You start to break free from the ego's control when you cease striving after external affirmation. Understanding that your value is independent of how other people perceive you allows you to rediscover the strength that originates from inside. Our inherent completeness and sufficiency is central to Tolle's teachings. Embracing the present moment and realizing that we are not defined by the actions or opinions of others diminishes the desire for external validation. If we truly understand that you are not a person in the world, you are the world, a manifestation of consciousness, as he puts it, in a new earth, we can stop seeking approval from other people and instead shine brightly in our own brilliance. Fear of rejection is a common motivator for pursuing another person and trying to win their acceptance. Some crucial item like love, a connection, or a sense of belonging can slip away if you let your grip. Unfortunately, the fear of loss is the fear of the ego, Tolle says in The Power of Now. In an effort to maintain power over what's to come, the ego clings to the past. Nevertheless, there is no time like the present. When you stop trying to control other people or their opinions of you, you are embracing the here and now and having faith that your true self will guide you to your destiny. By making your own choices, you can move from a state of scarcity to abundance. You can achieve inner calm and self-assurance when you quit seeking approval from other people. The tyranny of the mind is liberated when one is fully present, according to Tolle. Even when your thoughts are racing, know that for now you are sufficient. You can step into your power by selecting yourself and letting go of the impulse to chase after other people. You quit wasting your energy on people who might not value you and start putting that energy into things that will benefit you, including personal development and meaningful connections. Just as the sun's light doesn't depend on someone noticing it shining, so too does your worth not depend on anyone recognizing it. Therefore, prioritizing one's own needs and wants is not a sign of being selfish, but of loving and respecting oneself. Being treated with compassion, respect, and understanding is a sign that you are worthy of being enough, simply the way you are. Your true nature is that of the consciousness that is aware of the ego. To paraphrase Tolle, your ideas, emotions, and worries all stem from your consciousness. You will come to understand that you are not in need of external affirmation the more you cultivate that understanding. In the end, you won't have to prove yourself to anyone when you quit chasing and instead stand in your own value. You make room in your life for the things that really count, including meaningful relationships, personal development, and serenity. When you let yourself be truly yourself, you unlock the door to a life of love, authenticity, and fulfillment. Doing so lets people see you as you really are, not when you're trying to hide or pretend to be someone you're not. Keep in mind that no one needs proof of your worth. No need to seek approval from those who can't recognize the brilliance in you. Let their lack of interest reflect not your own shortcomings, but their own blind spots. Like a calm, unmoving flame, genuine value is unwavering. Regardless of who looks, it burns persistently. It doesn't flicker. You can't let the actions of others put out the fire within you, my friend. All you can do is let them pass through you like the wind. Your value is incalculable and will remain so forever. An often overlooked but incredibly effective means of expression is quiet. When someone picks to ignore you, it's not merely a lack of communication. It's a statement about their position and view of the relationship. A void can be painful to be filled with silence, but if you're open to listening, you'll find clarity there. Recognize first that there is no such thing as neutral quiet. If someone doesn't say anything, it's because they're choosing to ignore you or because their priorities are too obvious. In any case, they are sending a message by being silent. If someone is silent, it could be because they are trying to tell you something like, "I'm not emotionally ready to engage right now," or "I'm not giving this relationship the priority you are." In any case, the message is that silence allows you to hear what's really going on. Chasing someone who has decided to remain silent usually just makes things worse. You may encounter additional silence or, even worse, contemptuous replies if you insist on answers, explanations, or even recognition. Attempting to interrupt the silence could make you feel even more rejected. Put your focus into filling the space, rather than letting the quiet do its job. The true meaning of silence can frequently be discerned when we take a step back. Relationship instabilities can also be revealed by silence. It may be time to reevaluate your approach. If you're the one who's constantly making an effort to connect with others, starting conversations, and reaching out. Mutual effort and communication, rather than one-sided pursuit, are the foundation of healthy relationships. You can assess the relationship's authenticity and determine if it fits with your values and worth by letting the silence persist. Silence also has the power to demarcate space. Someone is establishing a boundary, whether they mean to or not, when they disregard you. Although it may be painful, showing respect for that limit demonstrates emotional maturity. When someone isn't responding in kind, there's no need to follow after them or try to establish a connection. Instead, take a minute to consider what you truly need and deserve, and respect their silence as a statement about their stance. Another surprising benefit of being silent is the insight it brings. You may find that your own emotions, wants, and priorities become more apparent when another person's emphasis shifts away from you. You start to get a better picture of the relationship's dynamics, including your contributions, receipts, and the degree to which they are balanced. While being silent could be unsettling, it can also shed light on things. You can learn a lot about your own strength via silence. Resilience is developed when one stops chasing and instead sits in the uncomfortable stillness. You realize that it's possible to deal with setbacks without letting them define you. You come to see that the fact that other people fail to recognize your worth does not decrease it, and you develop into the type of person who can be authentic without constantly trying to mask your true self. You should therefore hold off on trying to fill someone else's silence the next time they neglect you. Ignore it. Pay attention to what it has to say. Remember that quiet can reveal truths even when they hurt. Truth, no matter how painful, is a gift. Humans have an innate need for connection and understanding, which can lead to a chasing drive when someone ignores you. Your thoughts may wander to questions like, why are they distant? Did I do something wrong? Can I fix this? However, running after them may seem like a natural solution, but it usually just makes things worse. On the contrary, it usually makes you look desperate, which drives the other person away and lowers your self-esteem. Think about the dynamics of chasing to get a handle on this. When one partner pursues the other, it changes the dynamic of the relationship. You act as if the other person's approval or attention is something you have to work for, putting them on a pedestal. The message that their approval is more essential than your dignity is conveyed by this action, which has the unintended consequence of lowering your own value. A relationship based on such a weak basis is likely to fail soon because of its instability and lack of stability. The way the other person sees you might also be altered when you pursue them. They can start to see you as clingy and reliant instead than self-assured and confident. Desperation is rarely a strength, but vulnerability can be. Confident and self-respective people are more attractive than those who appear to require continual reassurance. Chasing someone takes away from your attractiveness and your ability to form real connections with them. Furthermore, pursuing results in a unilateral dynamic that seldom fosters mutual regard. Whether it's a professional, romantic, or platonic relationship, harmony and reciprocity are the keys to success. Every time you reach out, start a discussion, or look for approval, you're putting all the emotional weight of the connection on your shoulders. You may start to feel exhausted, bitter, and unfulfilled as a result of this imbalance. Chasing also carries psychological costs. Pursuing someone who has pulled away from you just serves to deepen your own feelings of inadequacy and uncertainty. Your self-esteem takes a further hit with every missed call or unreturned text. You can find yourself caught in a vicious cycle if you keep trying to get their attention, only to feel worse when you fail. Stop chasing and figure out why you're wasting your energy on someone who isn't willing to meet you halfway. Nothing changes until you stop trying to get what you want. Your power is returned to you. By doing so, you demonstrate to yourself and others the worth of your presence, effort, and time. By standing firm, you show that you will not grovel for the approval of those who refuse to acknowledge your value. And when you do that, you make room for relationships that are real, respectful, and reciprocal. You may devote more time and energy to developing meaningful relationships with yourself if you put an end to the pursuit. You may put more effort into your personal development, interests, and happiness when you stop focusing on other people and start investing in yourself. Instead of looking for happiness outside of yourself, you learn to discover it within. Not only does this change fortify your identity, but it also makes you more attractive to the kind of individuals who see your worth and gravitate toward you, regardless of whether you say or do anything to show it. Realize this: the individuals who are truly meant to be in your life won't make you chase after them. Sincere bonding does not require effort or struggle. Rather, it develops organically when people regard and appreciate one another. When you stop trying to force someone to be a part of your life, you give them a chance to prove it. And if they don't, then it's best to let them leave, because their departure creates space for someone or something greater. If you must leave anything behind, let it be chasing. Instead, walk tall and proud in your own value, understanding that being desperate causes more harm than good when it comes to building connections. Genuine bonding occurs when two individuals accept each other for who they are and work together in an atmosphere of mutual regard and appreciation. And it's worth it to wait for that type of connection. One of your most precious assets is your energy. It gives your relationships their strength, allowing you to pursue your dreams and live each day with enthusiasm and determination. However, this valuable resource is often wasted on pursuits that don't pay off, such as chasing after people who ignore you. Recognizing the value of your energy and making deliberate choices about how, where, and with whom you spend it are ways to respect it. Someone is sending a message about their priorities, whether they realize it or not, when they disregard you. While it's understandable to feel offended, remember that you are free to respond whatever you choose. Refraining from expending energy on others who do not return your favor is a sign of respect for your energy. Realizing that you can't afford to waste your time and energy on partnerships that don't hold both parties equally accountable is key. Establishing limits is the first step in having your energy respected. Boundaries that are both firm and compassionate are not barriers that people cannot cross, but rather rules that you may follow to safeguard your mental health and emotional resources. Chasing after someone who ignores you is a certain way to push your own boundaries to the limit, as you put up with their lack of interest or attention in the hopes that it will eventually change. However, the reality is that you are solely responsible for your own reactions, not the way other people treat you. You may convey a strong message to yourself and everyone around you that you are worthy of respect and cooperation by being firm about your boundaries. Another pitfall of overgiving is the lack of boundaries. If you invest all of your emotional and mental resources into someone who doesn't return the favor, you run the danger of exhausting yourself. Resentment, wariness, and uncertainty might set in after a while. If you want to keep your energy levels up, you need to be able to recognize when to step back, when to refuse, and when to put your own needs before those of other people. You make room for better connections when you respect your boundaries. Within those limits, you will encounter people who genuinely appreciate and respect you. Avoid being tested, ignored, or pushed by them. Respect for one another and an equal effort to keep the relationship going are the cornerstones of a healthy partnership. When you make your limits clear and don't budge, you let people who can't or won't meet you where you are through. When people disregard you, it's important to respect your energy and not feel pressured to change or explain yourself. When we want closure or clarity, we frequently find ourselves caught in the trap of chasing, but the truth is that we must look within to find what we truly need. In doing so, you are regaining your power, prioritizing your peace above their explanation, and deciding to proceed independently of their advice. We should also discuss self-care, as it is closely related to honoring your energy. Stop wasting time and energy trying to win over people who don't care about you and start focusing on taking care of yourself instead. Do what makes you happy, what lifts your spirits, and what makes you feel valued. Taking care of yourself, whether that's by engaging in an activity you love, surrounding yourself with supportive people, or just getting enough sleep, is essential for maintaining your energy and respecting your limits. Always keep in mind that setting healthy boundaries and honoring your energy is about more than simply avoiding harm. It's also about being true to who you are and what you value. Being confident in your worthiness of healthy, mutually respectful, and affirming relationships is key. When you tune into your energy, opportunities and people will find their way to you. Therefore, you shouldn't pursue an ignoring person. Rather, use it as a chance to put more effort into yourself. Establish clear limits and respect your energies. By doing so, you take back control of your life and show the world and yourself how precious your presence, energy, and time are. The truth that the proper people will always notice you is one of life's most liberating realities. Your worth, presence, and value will be apparent to them. They won't need convincing. The people who are intended to be in your life will notice you even if you don't shout, chase, or beg. Genuine bonding doesn't require effort. It unfolds effortlessly. Feelings of inadequacy are common responses to being ignored by another person. It says more about them than you do about yourself, that they can't or won't recognize your worth, which can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. No one will hesitate to acknowledge your value if they truly care about you. They'll try, they'll be regular, and they'll love you for who you are, not because you need to prove yourself all the time. Think of a lighthouse perched precariously on a cliff. It just shines its light. It doesn't pursue ships to lead them. Only vessels in need of its guidance will be able to locate it. Others will simply ignore it. A beacon of hope. You are. Your job description does not include going out of your way to get people to recognize you. Your job is to be yourself, to radiate light, and to have faith that good people will find you. The ones that are truly meant for you won't beg you to pay attention to them. Wherever you go, they will meet you, and what they say they will do. These individuals are reliable because they always call when they say they will. They are always there when you need them, and they never invade your personal space or drain your energy. Not because of your abilities, but because of who you are, will they appreciate you. Also, keep in mind that being invisible to some is also a blessing. There are some people that should not accompany you on your journey. Lessons, not everlasting friends, are some individuals. Their blindness to your worth makes room for people who can. By releasing toxic relationships, you create space for the ones that will truly enrich your life. Those who will encourage, strengthen, and empower you. To put it simply, the primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. When you stop letting other people's opinions about you dictate your happiness, you open the door for people who can enrich your life with their positivity and growth, promoting ideas. The correct individuals will also notice your development. They will perceive not only your current self, but also the promise of your future self. They will support you through thick and thin, cheer you on when you succeed, and cheer you on when you succeed, and cheer you on when you fail. Intimate connections like these are what keep you going when times go tough. In A New Earth, Eckhart Tolle muses, the more you are focused on the external, the more you are distracted from the eternal. Genuine bonding does not hinge on temporary approval from outside sources, but rather on the profound resonance of mutual comprehension and development. The desire to have everyone's approval is understandable and even healthy, but it's unrealistic to expect that everyone will do what you say. The fact is, some people will never love you, and that's perfectly fine. The most important thing is to be true to who you are. Sincerity attracts the proper folks while deters the others. Believing that the correct people will constantly notice you demands perseverance and trust. There will be times when you feel rejected or alone, but know that this is not the end of your journey. They are parts of a bigger story, one in which fate brings the perfect individuals into your life at just the right moments. Be confident and graceful as you continue on your road, and have faith that those who are meant to be by your side will eventually find their way. Put an end to your pursuit of those who fail to recognize your value. Instead, put your focus on improving yourself until you're the best version of yourself. Be confident in who you are, let your light shine, and have faith that the right people will find you. Not because you seek them out, but because they see the strength and beauty in you. In her book, The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle states, "When you are present, you can become aware of the stillness behind everything, that which is beyond thought. That is the essence of who you are." Choosing to be yourself is a revolutionary move in a world that constantly urges you to seek validation from others. You are the only one who can choose your level of happiness and contentment. Therefore, it's a strong statement of self-worth and a promise to never accept anything less than what you truly deserve. Instead of chasing after someone who ignores you, it's more powerful to focus on yourself. Realizing your worth is inherent is the first step in making a self-choice. You are valuable regardless of whether or not other people recognize it. You are valuable just because you are. Your value is unrelated to the approval or disapproval of others. Embracing this fact allows you to break free from the never-ending quest for approval from others. You instead ground your self-esteem in an immovable rock, your personal belief in your own abilities. In A New Earth, Eckhart Tolle says, "You are here to enable the divine purpose of the universe to unfold." That is how important you are. When you realize that you are essential to something bigger than yourself, you can stop looking for approval from other people and start trusting your own abilities. It is not a sign of egotism or selfishness to prioritize your own needs. Performing this action is a way to honor and protect oneself. Putting yourself first, before chasing after others who don't appreciate you, is what it's all about. Choosing yourself, you reclaim control of your energy and time. It's a way of saying, "I am enough and I will not compromise my dignity or peace to gain someone else's approval." You put your money into things that make you happy instead of going after someone who had you. Prioritize your aspirations, nurture your interests, and strengthen your bond with yourself. This change does double duty. It fortifies your identity and draws in opportunities and individuals who support your greatest benefit. When you make your own choices, you may set boundaries without feeling bad about it. If something isn't serving you, it gives you the strength to leave it. Staying in someone's sphere of influence in the hopes that they'll recognize or value you is an attractive option when they disregard you. However, if you want to be yourself, you have to realize that you can't afford to waste your time and effort on people who don't try to be flexible. In order to make place for what truly matters to you, you must release what does not. Choosing oneself has a huge effect on your perspective, changing it from one of lack to abundance. You shift your perspective from worrying, "If I don't chase them, I'll lose something important," to believing, "By letting them go, I'm making space for something better." Your fear gives way to trust of yourself, of your journey, and of the idea that you will never have to sacrifice your self-respect for what's meant for you. Opting for oneself also motivates those around you. When you know your value and don't back down, you show the world that you deserve respect. When you treat yourself with dignity, people will be more inclined to do the same. Those who can't measure up will inevitably find their way out, and you'll be left with a circle of supportive people. The more you are able to honor and respect yourself, the more you can honor and respect yourself, the more you can honor and respect others. This is a lesson that Tolle stresses throughout her teachings. The greatest gift of being true to oneself is the independence it bestows. Put an end to seeking approval from other people. Get off your behind and stop watering down your principles to fit into other people's narratives. You accept complete control of your life and make every decision based on your values and priorities. You have the power to choose whether you want to seek fulfillment from other people or from within yourself in every connection and encounter. You assert your value, regain control, and find inner peace when you make the decision to be yourself. Make your happiness, tranquility, and dignity your non-negotiable goals now by making the ultimate power move. The day you realize how special you are and quit wasting time trying to win over people who don't care about you. If you want to live a life full of respect, love, and abundance, which all originate with you, then you must choose to be yourself. A sense of rejection can hit you hard when someone chooses to ignore you. However, your path ahead is determined by your reaction to that very moment. Pursuing individuals who ignore you does not demonstrate strength. Rather, it diverts your focus from your true calling. Rather, you will find strength when you let go, establish limits, and rediscover your value. Your worth is not determined by how much you ignore. You are valuable, not because other people fail to recognize you, but because you believe in yourself. When accompanied by elegance, silence conveys much. Demonstrates to the world that you respond with poise, self-assurance, and unwavering confidence. Pursuing people who reject you does not lead to building relationships. Rather, it exudes an air of desperation and saps your strength. Do yourself a favor and save your strength for the people who truly merit it. A wise saying from Eckhart Tolle states, "The past has no power over the present moment." The correct people will always notice you. You won't have to go looking for them. They'll just show up, rejoice, and treasure being in your company. Opting for oneself goes beyond being a reaction to being disregarded. A life lived truthfully is a life lived powerfully, and it lays the groundwork for a life of purpose and fulfillment. Accept that rejection is just a reroute for you. Learn from the stillness. Your value is unaffected by how other people see you, so stand firm when faced with apathy. Instead of pursuing things that bring you down, focus on the things that bring you down. Focus on the things that lift you up. If you want to live a life filled with abundance, joy, and meaningful connections, choose yourself. The world is eagerly anticipating your unique brilliance. Allow it to radiate with confidence and fearlessness. If you want to continue on your journey of self-discovery, make sure to subscribe to this channel to assure living more in the present moment. Reply with the word "now" in the comments if this message resonated with you, and if you want to continue growing in the future. Also, consider giving this video a like or sharing it with someone who might benefit from a gentle reminder to slow down in life and be more awake.